Hello, friendships, and welcome to the We Are Growing podcast. I'm your host, Ava Medina, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode. So, we are officially in episode 2 of season 1, and I'm so glad to see you here. I'm glad that you came back. Let us go ahead and get into this topic. So, for today's episode, we're going to be doing our topic is going to be taking actionable steps towards change, towards our goals. In episode 1, we talked a lot about the internal work that needs to happen in order to make change happen, to make it easier, to make it more accessible. Because that internal work is so important. If you're not in the right mindset, if you're not in the right place to make change, it won't last. It'll feel really hard. It won't stick. And you'll kind of be wondering the whole time, like, why did I do this? Why did I want to do this again? So if you haven't heard episode 1, I highly encourage you to go ahead and just give it a listen. Some good information in there, some really good stuff. And it'll definitely set you up for success in this episode. So let's go ahead and just kind of dive right into that episode, into this one. And this is applicable to change, to goals. I'm probably going to use those words interchangeable, change and goals. Those are going to be interchangeable words here in this podcast episode. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. And the first place to start, of course, I think that we're going to be covering 3 main topics here in this episode. This is, of course, personal essay style, my opinion, my experience. If it's not yours, that's okay. Hopefully you'll still be able to grab some good stuff from this, some good information that'll help you spark that change, that'll get you going to that first step. Alrighty, so the first thing that I think the first place to start when you're looking to take actual, actionable, concrete steps towards change is going to be to start where you are. There's nowhere else that we can start except right where we are. So it's really important to acknowledge, not judge. We are not judging ourselves. We are here. It is okay. There's nothing to be done. We can't change the past, but we can certainly shape our future. So no judgment, just acknowledgement. This is where we are. This is where we're starting. We want to run a 10K and we have never walked longer than a block. That's where we're starting. That does not make the goal impossible at all. It's just so important to acknowledge where we are, because if we are trying to compare ourselves to someone who regularly runs a mile and they're like, oh, I want to run a 10K. And we're here having really never run longer than a block. And we're like, well, I also want to run a 10K. We might feel inexplicably, we might feel the need to compare ourselves to that person who is starting a little bit further ahead than us. They just are. They're already used to running a mile a day. It's going to be a little bit easier for them to get where they're going. They've started further along the path than we have, because we're starting kind of at 0 all the way in, having never done this. And someone who's like kind of dabbled in it, they're going to be further along. Don't compare yourself. It's not healthy. It's not helpful at all. Use them as motivation if that works for you. Use them as inspiration. If they can do it, I can do it. But don't compare yourself. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's like chapter 10. You'll get there. And so that's why it's so important to just start where you are, acknowledge where you are, and acknowledge that you're not starting on the same page as other people. And that's okay. You're starting where you're starting. And the fact that you're starting means that you're further ahead than like a majority of the individuals, because most people will see that and they'll be like, well, I'm not close enough, so I'm just not going to start that goal. But then you never reach it. You have to start to succeed. You have to just start. So we're going to start where we are, right here in this moment. We're going to acknowledge without judgment that this is where we're starting, and that's okay. And we're going to set some stretchy goals. We're going to set goals that are achievable, but we might have to stretch for them a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take a little bit of effort. You're going to have to kind of stretch to get there, but you can get there. Absolutely, you can. And even if you don't, like your brain's like, well, what if you don't get there? Even if you don't, you got 3/4 of the way. You know, like if your goal is to save $10,000 and you don't quite get there, you still saved $7,000. You still saved $8,000. That's still an amazing accomplishment. So start where you are, right here, and please listen, set small goals. This is not about super big change all in one. That's not the plan. That's not what we're doing. That's burnout. That is setting yourself up for burnout. Don't do it. So we're going to start where we are. Okay? So maybe we're trying to run a 10K, which I have never strived to do, but other people do it. So this is just for an example's sake. We are trying to run 10 miles, 10K. Okay. Right now, we really don't run further than a block. But either way, the goal that you're wanting, the goals that you set for yourself in episode 1, that change you wanted to make, the person that you wanted to show up as every day, we're going to break that down. We're going to set that goal, and we're going to set that goal as specific as possible. I'm sure you've heard of this acronym. It's not new. I'm not the first person to say it. I will offer it to you in case perhaps you haven't heard it before, or in case you need to hear it again. Set SMART goals. When you are setting your goals, set SMART goals. And SMART goals are an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is just a great place to start if you're like, yeah, I want to set a goal. What is my goal? Or you're like, I set my goal, but I haven't reached it. It's not refined. It's very abstract, you know? So you're going to want to set a specific goal. Super specific. Specifically, I want to run a 10K. You're going to make it measurable. It is 10K. Either you run 10K or you don't. There is no in between. Either you did it or you didn't. That is measurable. Actionable. I can take action on that right now. I can get up, go outside, start running. And I can do that. That is an actionable thing that I can actually go do and take action on. And then relatable. It is related to the goal. It is the goal. The goal is I want to run. I want to maybe get fit. I want to maybe improve my cardiovascular health. So running 10K is relevant to that goal, that internal why of what I'm doing. And then time bound. I don't just want to run 10K in my lifetime. I want to run it by the end of summer. I want to run it by the end of the year. I want to run it in time for this marathon that I want to join. Super easy. Super easy. If you are struggling to get your goal down, then you can definitely use the SMART method, the SMART acronym. So super specific, measurable. It should not be, I want to make money. I need to know how much money you want to make. I want to save 10K. Good. That is measurable. Actionable. I can start putting away $50, $100 a paycheck to my 10K goal of money. Okay. And then is it relatable? I want to feel financially secure. I want to make sure that I have a savings in case of an emergency. It'll make me feel more, secure in just my life in general. Relate that back to why you want to do this. There's a deeper meaning here for why you're wanting to run 10K, why you're wanting to save 10K. That seems to be my theme. 10K. So make that relatable to yourself. And then again, make it time bound. I want to save 10K by the end of the quarter, by the end of the year, by the time this vacation goes around, by the time I buy this, whatever that looks like for you, make it time bound. And don't feel stressed about making it time bound. And you're like, well, what if I don't make it in that time set? That's terrifying. I failed. No. Here's also something super important to take into yourself and write it down. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of the process to success. If you have hit failure, you are one step closer to reaching your goal, to getting success. You have just found out a way it does not work. Now you can build on that. You can grow from there. The opposite of success is inaction, never starting in the first place. If you have started and you've encountered failure after failure after failure, that's fine. It means you are getting closer and closer and closer to that success. But if you never start, you will never get there. You will never get to success. If you start running and you're only getting to 2 miles, and every time you're just quitting at 2 miles, and you're like, how the heck do I get past this? You will figure it out. One day, you will wake up and find that you have run 3 miles, 4 miles, because you've built on that success. You've realized my shoes are inadequate. I don't have enough water. I may be doing a really sunny run that is just draining my energy. You will build on it. But if you never start running, if you never take that first step, you will guaranteed 100% you will never reach that goal. You will never run 10K if you never start running. The opposite of success is that inaction. If you never start, you will guaranteed 100% you will never get there. But if you start and you encounter failures, if you keep working at them, you will reach your goal. You will get there. You will get to success. So if you're having trouble picking a goal, just use it. Use that work we did in episode 1, those changes we want to make. And maybe those changes were a little bit abstract. Maybe those changes were, I want to stop people pleasing. I want to get into better relationships. I want to this, that, or the third. If those are, take those steps, take that change you want to do, that change you want to make, and then run it through the SMART goals. See if you can get super specific about it. See if you can get measurable about it, actionable, relatable, time-bound. See if you can get it, work it through those. And then once we have our goal, and it is as smart as we can make it, that goal, now we get to go into step 2, which I think is so important for actionable change. Because these are also actionable steps. You should be able to look at that goal, write it down. Write it down as specific as we can be. And that'll take us into step 2, which is to break it down. We have this super big achievable goal. We're trying to save $10,000. We're trying to run 10,000. We are trying to run a 10K. We are trying to do these things that are pretty stretchy. We're pretty sure we can do them. It's going to take some work though. So what work needs to get done into that? That is step 2. We are now breaking down those steps. So we were delusional. We were borderline delusional with our goal. And now we're going to be strategic with the plan. What that is is first, don't make this mistake. I'm going to just sideline this in here. Don't make a dozen changes at once. Don't get up your first day running and be like, I'm going to run 5 miles. Don't do that. Don't tell yourself I'm going to save this money, so I'm going to save $1,000 a week. No, that is not great. If it works for you, sure. It's a big mistake I see a lot though, where I have this goal, I want to reach it immediately, so I'm going to change my whole life around. I want to show up as who I want to show up as, so I'm going to get up at 5 a.m., I'm going to make my bed, I'm going to feed the pets, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to meditate for half an hour, I'm going to journal for 30 minutes, I'm going to do a only protein-based meal plan. I'm going to do so many things. When previously you'd been waking up at 10 a.m. and doing like maybe one of those habits. Do not bombard yourself with a bunch of habits all at once. Alternatively, do not bombard yourself with habits that have nothing to do with your goal. We want growth in this area. We're going to get hyper specific about growth in this area. So yeah, it's lovely that you want to meditate and that you want to journal and that you want to do all these things, drink, 12 glasses of water a day. Is that relevant to your goal? Okay. Maybe for running a 10K, it's relevant to get the proper hydration, to maybe journal about your thoughts on it, and maybe like meditate, visualize yourself running that distance. Yeah. If we can bring every habit back into that goal, back into that change, it'll be much easier to sustain. But if we're not, if we're just like, well, I heard online that it would be really healthy for me to wake up at 5 a.m. Like if you're wanting to save 10K, but you're like, I thought it would be great for me to wake up at 5 a.m. and do this and do this and do that. Is that relevant to your goal? Is you waking up at 5 in the morning making you the money that you need to save for your 10K? If it is, because it allows you to work on your business, it allows you to do some freelancing work, then 110% go for it. If it's not though, if you're like, no, well, I'm just getting it from my 9 to 5 and then really my side hustle can be done at this other time, and then don't be waking up at 5 in the morning. Wake up when it is relevant to you. Tie every habit back to the goal we want to accomplish. So now we have this goal. We have this thing we want to do, this change we want to accomplish, this goal. We're going to break this down. We're going to break this down into small, bite-sized steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at it. We want to save $10,000. Okay. So go ahead and divide that. How often do you get paid? How much could you afford to put away? What is the length of time with those two factors in mind? What's the length of, is your making 10K? So like, let's say we get paid weekly. Let's say we can put away 100 a week. So now we're at like 400 a month, relatively. How long at 400 a month is it going to take us to reach our goal? Is that within our time bound, our time set, our time goal? If it's not, we might want to look at some other things. What's a side job? What's another source of income that I could bring up that will help me to fill in the gaps so that I can get to my goal within the time frame that I want to do it? So that's something. I would probably work at, my favorite thing to do, honestly, is something my family has coined as sort of like the potato build. Like if you want a clock, you can really just plug it into a potato and it'll run. You don't even need really a wall or electricity. You can grab a potato, you can make a makeshift clock. Like you can make, like when we were kids in science class, we can make anything out of bare bones. And that's another phrase for it. So your potato build, your bare bones what is the lowest amount of effort you can put in to start that goal, to start work, to start the steps towards that goal right now, today, at the latest tomorrow. What are those? There is something. If you want to start a business, if you want to start a podcast, all you need is your phone. All you need is a smartphone, and then start recording. If you want to run 10K, all you need to do is put on some shoes and go for a jog. If you want to save $10,000, all you need to do is put away just $5. You can go right now, go in your wallet, grab $20, put it in a jar labeled funds, savings. That's it. You started. You did it. You started. And now it is about consistency. To start, I would get so minimal on the starting point because that is the biggest hurdle. You need to start, and then you need to build that consistency into it. But you can start so easy. And every moment of the day is a chance to implement that change. When you're thinking, man, I really want to just sit on the couch and do a marathon, of Netflix, of movies. I don't really want to go out. That is a point in time where you have a choice. You can sit down and watch your show, or you can put your shoes on. You can go for a jog, just a quick jog, a little bit further than you went yesterday, just a couple blocks, circle around. And then when you get back, you can start, you can still watch your show. But now you did it. You did a step towards your goal. Consistency is so much more important than perfection. You don't have to run a mile the first time. You just have to get started. You just have to go run it every day. And I would really advocate mindfulness is so key for me, especially that little pause, that little space in between want and action. I want to sit on the couch and do nothing but watch my show, and then actually sitting on the couch and watching your show. There's this little itty bitty space right between that. You get the want, and then there's a pause, and there's a pause there before your body takes action. In that pause, optimize that pause. So important. Think to yourself, would I feel better if I went for a quick run and then sat down versus just sitting down and letting my goal kind of waste away in the corner gathering dust? Use that pause between emotion and action. Use that pause to optimize yourself. You are in control of yourself, in control of your actions. You are the God, goddess, divine of your universe, of this reality you see around you right now. You are in control. So if you want to optimize yourself and your habits to reach your goals, you 100% can. It is on you. On the flip side, do not be angry with yourself that sometimes, even with that pause, I still do this. Even with that pause, you still go, nah, I'm gonna go sit on the couch. I really don't want to run today. That's okay. That's okay. But tomorrow, the next time you get that pause, you got to go do it. You can't slack off for more than a day. You just can't. It's also important for me to note that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. If you're already prepped for the thing you want to do, when an opportunity arises, you are able to capitalize on it. And this seems like, dang, I am the luckiest person in the world right now. Like I've been running consistently. I've been doing my research on what running shoes would be really amazing for me to wear that would help me with my time, with my effort. And then now your friend is selling those exact shoes. You saw those exact shoes that you want that are like maybe $200. You saw them for 25. Grab them. And you're like, because I've been prepping, because I've been working, because I've been looking, I know that these are the optimal shoes for me. They just came at this fantastic price. I'm so lucky. But if you hadn't been doing the work prior, it would have just been a wasted opportunity. You wouldn't have even noticed. You would have just let it pass you by. But now it's a lucky opportunity. It's luck that it fell right into your lap, and it's going to help you so much for where you're going. And that'll actually lead me into point 3, which is, it is not about discipline. It is not about, it is not about discipline. It is not about the willpower to constantly be doing something that it brings resistance. That's not going to work. I tried it. Trust me, I did the work for you. I tried it. You begin to hate that and to hate yourself for wanting to put yourself in that position. You begin to hate the thing. I would not do that. What I would do is not rely on willpower for every single thing you want to do. Because discipline comes from consistency. And consistency comes from routine, from flexibility. It's about building that consistency by building that routine. At this time, it's 5 a.m., it's 5 p.m., it's after work, this is when I go run. And it's easier to just get up and do it. This is how I've been doing it. This is what I've been doing for the last week. It's easy. It's routine. It feels almost weird to not go do it. So use that. Use that consistency, that routine to build the discipline that you need. Discipline doesn't just show up. It's not automatic. It's something that everything is a skill that can be learned, that can be built. Discipline is one of those things. It's a skill that you can learn, that you can practice, that you can work, that you can build on. Along with that is going to be setting that routine, so important, and creating flexibility. When you do not feel up to it, when you're like, man, I know that I told myself I was going to run those 3 miles today. I'm just not feeling it. I've had a bad day. I've had a long day. Things are hard right now. I just can't. That's okay. Flexibility. I'm going to run just 1 mile, maybe 2. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to get it done. Have a plan B. Here's plan A. We're going to run 5 miles. If we can't do plan A because we're just not feeling it, have a plan B. Plan B was 2 miles because at least you're making consistent work, consistent progress. Consistency is not rigid. It is not this or the highway. It's this or failure. No. You get to build it. Consistency is flexibility. It is going, okay, maybe I wanted to do this whole big change, but that didn't quite work out. So I'm going to do a slightly smaller one that still makes me feel good, still makes me feel like I am working towards that goal, but just not like, not burnout, not forcing myself, because then we start to hate the thing if we have to sit to such a rigid schedule, you start to just hate it. Flexibility is so important to consistency. And at that same time, celebrate your wins. If all you're doing is condemning yourself for all the things you haven't done, that's not being nice to yourself. It's not being self-aware. It's not self-love. That is just you being your biggest critic. Don't do that to yourself. Be your biggest fangirl and acknowledge all those wins. You're the only one that can see them. If you're trying to stop people pleasing and you just said no to wasting your time on something that had nothing to do with you, acknowledge that. Go, heck yeah, right there, that moment, I put me first. I said no. I put what I was going to do. You are the person living inside yourself. You're the person seeing all the work, all the commitment, all the things you want to do and how you're working towards them. So acknowledge them. Do that win. Keep a win journal. I love those, where you write down all your wins. And every time you're feeling like you're not enough, like you're not doing it, like you're just failing, pull out that win journal and go, dang, you know what? Actually, like maybe I'm just being, hard on myself. Maybe I'm just talking some mad shit right now to myself. Because if I'm looking at this, this is proof that I'm doing amazing things, that I'm getting shit done. Celebrate those small wins. Write them down if you have to. On a sticky note all over your room, in a journal that you can bring out whenever you're feeling critical of yourself. Do that. And along with that, you're not self-contained. Your journey does not happen in a vacuum. So optimize your environment. Optimize your physical environment. Make sure things are prepped for you to do them. If you want to be running at 5 a.m, then the night before, your workout things, your workout clothes, your water bottle, maybe a protein shake, your shoes, they all need to be laid out. Optimize your environment. If you're wanting to build a business, then make sure your work area is ready for you to just sit down and start. Optimize your environment, and not just your physical environment. Optimize your physical environment, so important, so key. Optimize other environments, your online environment. Your feed, whenever you go on a social media, should be just a running commentary on all the goals you want to accomplish. If you're wanting to run, then your entire feed needs to just be people running, people going, I finally hit my goal, I finally hit my 10K, this is it. It needs to be so that you can only scroll online for like 30 minutes before you are feeling so pumped, so motivated, so inspired that you just get off. You just get off and go start on that thing you want to do. If you want to build the best version of yourself, then your feed should just be self-growth, being that girl, being optimizing your 2025. It should just be about all the things you want to do. So motivational, so inspirational. That should be it. So that you can only be on there for 30 minutes before you are jumping off to go run that mile, to go do that thing, to go live your life the way you want to live it. So optimize your physical environment, optimize your online environment, optimize your social environment, your friend group. It is okay to have friends who are happy where they are. But if you're trying to reach a goal, the best thing you can do for yourself is get a friend group that supports you. That is also maybe is trying to reach the same goal. Join a 10K group all about people just trying to run a 10K. If that's not it, you're trying to start a business, join an entrepreneur group all about people starting their businesses. Let that motivate you and build friendships from there. Optimize your friendships. Be deliberate about who you spend your time with and what you are getting out of them. And if you are giving more than you are getting, and use that as inspiration, give others inspiration. That same group that you're with, let them know what you've done, how far you've gone. Give them that inspiration and then take it from them as well. Take that inspiration that they're freely giving. Oh, you did that? Well, these shoes were really amazing for me. This brand of protein powder or protein bars was really great for me. Let that motivate you. Optimize those environments. So important. And for your goals as well, while you're doing them, while you're trying to get to them, and these are actionable steps, like fix your physical environment, fix your social environment, start engaging with posts that are what you want to align with. Clean out your entire room and only bring back what is going to make you reach your goal, what is going to allow you and help you propel you forward into that goal. Optimize, so important. And then run your goals, also really important. This is also not new, not something I invented, but maybe something you'll need to hear as well. Run them through the WHOOP test. And that is your wish, which is your goal, your wish, the outcome you want, the obstacles that are going to pop up in your way, and plan for them. Those last two are so important. We've run our goals through the SMART test. Now we need to run them through the WHOOP test. What are obstacles you might encounter? Maybe you don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. Sleep. Sleep is an obstacle you might encounter. If you're trying to wake up at 5, but you go to bed at 1, that's going to be an obstacle. You're not going to want to wake up. You need to optimize your sleep. So if you're wanting to wake up at 5 a.m, maybe you need to be in bed by 9 so that you can get the best sleep that you can get to wake up at the time that you want to wake up at. Plan for it. Plan for it. If you don't want to run right after work, you need to plan when you have the energy to run. Think on those goals. In that visualization of your goals, think on the obstacles that might pop up. What needs to change in order for me to reach my goal? Think on that and plan for it. Studies have shown that people who plan for the obstacles are more likely to reach their goals. So definitely do that. Alrighty, friendships, that is all I've got to you today. So we're going to just recap our 3 main points for this episode. One is start where you are. Without judgment, acknowledge where you are at currently and start there. Run your goals through the SMART test. They have to be specific. They have to be measurable. They have to be actionable. They have to be related to a why, and they have to be time bound. Number 2, that is going to be to break those goals we just set down into bare bones, into our potato build. What is the minimal amount of effort required to start that goal, to start progress today, tomorrow? And break your actionable steps down into maybe 3 or 5 and then work towards them. But what is right now, bare bones? How do we get started on that goal today? And number 3, build that discipline through consistency. Consistency is adaptable. Just make sure you're getting something done every day. Set a routine. If you can't reach your main plan A goal, plan A task for the day, what's plan B? Make sure you're constantly getting work done towards that goal, but be adaptable with yourself. Be kind to yourself. This is new. This is something you've never done before. It's going to be a little rocky, a little shaky. There's going to be pitfalls. You're going to hit them. Consistency is what takes care of that. Just show up for yourself every day. And those were our 3 main points. With that, you should definitely make progress towards your goal if you implement these steps. I so encourage everyone to set a goal, to get some action towards that goal, to show up as the person you want to show up as every day, to love yourself. I am coming out with a workbook soon for episodes 1 and 2. It's going to be a free workbook. I'm going to have that up at some point, I promise. Perhaps next week with episode 3, I'll have the link up for it. But do come back and join us for episode 3. Episode 3 is all about keeping the commitment to our goals, how to maintenance, essentially. Episode 1 was sparking that change. Episode 2 was taking action towards that change. And episode 3 is going to be the maintenance, how to maintain consistency and stick to those goals. You'll definitely want to be back for that one. But this is the end of our episode for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And please remember, we are growing, and that's okay. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You are deserving. And I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you next week, Monday. Bye.